Good morning, everybody. Today we're in St. Bart's. It's a beautiful day. As you guys can see, we're on this little rock right now. Pretty cool. We just arrived with the kayak. My buddy's already in the water diving, and as you guys can see, the water is crystal clear today. It doesn't get any better than this. I'm gonna hop in the water and join him in a couple minutes. So yeah, see you guys in there.
So before we headed out diving today, me and my friend actually set a goal to try and find the biggest lobster possible. So that's what we're gonna be looking for throughout this whole dive. While we're looking for that big lobster, we're also gonna be looking for some nice reef fish. So hopefully some big snapper, hopefully some yellowtail, hopefully some grouper. So yeah, we're gonna see what we get. So stick around for some crazy action. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And now let's get into it. So as soon as we hopped in the water, my friend actually dove down and spotted the first lobster of the day. Now this was not a huge lobster, not the big lobster we're looking for, but still a nice lobster. So he went down and didn't have a hard time catching it. And when you catch lobsters, they make this sound. And it's thanks to that sound that we're gonna catch our next fish. So keep that in mind. So my friend brings this lobster up to the surface, and for some reason, as we're putting this lobster in the bag, the lasso gets loose and the lobster slips out. And as you guys are about to see in this video, this is not our last problem with this lasso. Yeah, so stay tuned for that mess. But right now I'm going down, racing this lobster to the bottom, and I'm trying to slip this lobster inside the dive bag, but that doesn't work out, so I just grab him by the antennas and throw him in there. Remember the sound I was talking about earlier in the video? Well, there's a fish who loves that sound because he feeds off lobsters, and that fish happened to be swimming by. A huge permit comes in straight at me to come and check out where the sound was coming from, and gives me a perfect shot opportunity. And of course, I don't hesitate and pull the trigger, and this fish takes off. And these fish are really powerful. But eventually we managed to tire him out and bring them up to the surface. And now we can go back to looking for our prize lobster. And it wasn't long before we spotted two of them just roaming on the bottom. So I'm gonna leave you guys watch this whole confusion unroll. And this is a great example of what happens when you don't have the right equipment. And the worst thing is, both of those lobsters took off into really deep caves where we could hardly even see their antennas, making them almost impossible to catch. And as a side note, if you can just make your own lassos at home, it would probably work better than these industrial lassos that have a tendency of being pretty slippery. And trust me, I've missed a couple of lobsters because of it. After missing those two beautiful lobsters, I came to the conclusion that I'm not gonna be able to catch the big lobster I'm looking for with the material I have now. So I headed to shore and called my brother up and asked him if he could bring me a lasso and some gloves for me to be able to catch the big lobster I'm looking for. So that's exactly what he did. He arrived a couple minutes later with the boat and brought his rod and reel with him. And he caught a couple nice fish and he even hooked up on a beautiful tarpon. And this fish was an absolute monster. He gave him a great fight, including some cool jumps. But while he was fighting the tarpon, it got overcast and started raining. And on top of it all the commotion the fish was making attracted a bunch of sharks, as well as some barracudas. Eventually, the tarpon tired out, and we gave him a safe and easy release. Meanwhile, I still haven't caught the lobster I'm looking for, and the water is getting dark and the sharks are taking over. But right now, I got my eye on a nice red hind, which I decided to take a shot on. But what I didn't see is that there was a barracuda just waiting for me to give him an easy meal. And one thing that you learn about barracudas is that they can be pretty aggressive, and you don't want to get between them and the fish they're trying to eat. Well, luckily enough for me, my brother was on the rocks and managed to pull this fish up for me. So after that happened, my hopes were down, and we started to head inside, thinking the day was over. But in the back of my mind, I knew that the fact that the sun was setting also meant that more lobsters would be crawling out of their caves to start and look for food. So we kept on swimming and kept bumping into the young lobsters that were on the hunt for their next meal. And all of this was a great sign. At any moment now, we could bump into the big lobster we were looking for all along. And we even spotted one that was feeding on a crab we had just caught. After spotting all those young lobsters, we kept on swimming, speared a couple reef fish, but still no sign of the big lobster we're looking for. And right as the thought of heading back to the kayak crosses my mind, I spot in the corner of my eye something moving between the rocks. Right below me, a massive lobster just crawling on the seafloor. My heart stopped for a second, then I took a deep breath and started my descent. Thanks for watching this video until the end, and don't forget to subscribe because next time we're going for an even bigger one.